The debate surrounding a potential Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez showdown has ignited the boxing world, pulling in opinions from legends, trainers, strength coaches, broadcasters, and active fighters alike. At the heart of this matchup lies a single, unavoidable question. Can Crawford, a brilliant fighter with an impeccable resume, overcome the physical realities of jumping weight classes to face a seasoned, battle-tested champion like Canelo? The current date is April 6, 2025, and as this hypothetical clash continues to stir discussion, the voices weighing in are as seasoned as they are skeptical. Let's start with Juan Manuel Marquez, a Mexican boxing legend whose resume spans multiple divisions and iconic wars. Marquez didn't hold back when asked about Crawford's chances in a higher weight class. He's seen fighters climb the scales before, himself included, and he's blunt about what he thinks Crawford is up against. For Marquez, it's not about doubting Crawford's skill set, which he acknowledges as elite. Crawford's defense is sharp, his combination punching is fluid, and his ring IQ is undeniable. But Marquez sees a problem that talent alone can't fix: size. He argues that boxing's weight divisions exist for a reason, and Crawford's move to a higher class might expose him in ways his previous fights never did. "I don't like the fight because this is a good fighter, but in the sport of boxing, we have divisions, weight class for a reason," Marquez said, his words carrying the weight of experience. He pointed to Crawford's past performance against Israil Madrimov as a red flag. In that fight, Crawford didn't look like the same devastating force he'd been at lighter weights. "He looks slow, he looks with no power," Marquez recalled, suggesting that if Crawford struggled to carry his speed and punch into 154 pounds, jumping 2 more divisions to 168 could be a disaster. For Marquez, this isn't personal, it's physics. Talent doesn't always translate when the body can't keep up, and coming from a man who's fought across weight classes himself, that warning lands hard. Marquez didn't stop at critique. He also took a moment to praise Canelo Alvarez, offering a stark contrast to his concerns about Crawford. He called Canelo a complete fighter, strong, smart, and seasoned. "Canelo has everything," Marquez said, highlighting his power, ring IQ, and ability to defend. There's no hesitation in his tone, just pure respect for a champion who's evolved over years of tough battles. For Marquez, Canelo isn't just a good fighter. He's the total package, too sharp and too experienced to be rattled by someone stepping up from a lower division. That praise isn't hype, it's validation from a legend who knows what it takes to thrive at the elite level. But even as he gave Canelo his flowers, Marquez circled back to Crawford, doubling down on his stance. The size difference, the weight jump, the brutal reality of boxing's divisions, it's all too much, he insists. Crawford might be great at super lightweight, welterweight, or even super welterweight, but at 168. Marquez isn't buying it. The skepticism doesn't end with Marquez. Strength coach Rob Acosta chimed in with a take that's as blunt as it is detailed. He's not here to sugarcoat the matchup, and he's got a clear-eyed view of what Crawford would face at 168 pounds. Acosta doesn't doubt Crawford's athleticism or skill. He calls him tricky and gives him credit for being a dedicated worker. But when it comes to power and durability, he draws a hard line. "Canelo's been hit by Triple G, one of the hardest punchers in boxing," Acosta said. "You mean to tell me that Crawford's going to go up there and just clean him out? Nah, that's not happening." For Acosta, it's about respecting the levels in the game. Canelo's chin has taken shots from monsters like Gennady Golovkin and stayed intact. Crawford, skilled as he is, doesn't have the kind of power at 168 to make Canelo blink, according to Acosta. Size, strength, experience, it's all stacked against Crawford in this scenario. Acosta went deeper, breaking down the mechanics of Crawford's weight jump. It's not just about hitting a number on the scale, it's about how that weight is built and carried. Crawford has come from 140, 147, 154, he's going to skip 160 and go straight to 168, Acosta explained. Let's say Crawford walks around at 180. He's going to come down those 12 pounds to make 168. He ate his weight up to 180. He didn't work out his weight up to 180. That's the difference. For Acosta, bulking up through eating rather than training doesn't bring the same strength or endurance. Meanwhile, Canelo has lived at 168, cutting down from a higher natural weight and thriving there. That's a gap Crawford can't spar his way out of, Acosta warns. It's one thing to train with heavier guys. It's another to survive real fights at that level against someone like Canelo, who's been battle-tested time and again. Even with his doubts, Acosta doesn't dismiss Crawford entirely. He respects the work Crawford puts in, wrestling, weightlifting, boxing, and the team behind him, including strength coach Bomac. He's incredibly athletic, not just into boxing, Acosta said. He has a good strength team, they work together to create this super fighter. But admiration doesn't change reality. Moving from 154 to 168 in a short time frame and performing at the same level he did at 147 or 140. That's a tall order, even for a super fighter. Acosta pointed to Crawford's last jump to 154 as evidence. It wasn't a bad showing, but it wasn't dominant either. Both Crawford and his opponent landed clean shots, and neither looked shaken. If his power didn't fully carry to 154, Acosta wonders, how will it hold up at 168? That's the unanswered question looming over this fight. Abel Sanchez, a respected trainer with decades in the sport, echoed the same concerns from a different angle. For him, the matchup is a mismatch from the jump. Crawford will gain the weight, yes, he'll be around 160, 162, 163 by fight time, Sanchez said. But Canelo's a bigger man. Canelo's taken shots from big guys, and nobody's done anything to him. Sanchez doesn't question Crawford's talent, he calls him gifted, but he's not convinced it matters against Canelo's size, experience, and durability. He's blunt about it, this fight shouldn't happen. The money was there for both of them, so it's being made, he admitted, but it's not a fight I'd pay to see. When a veteran like Sanchez says that, it cuts through the noise. He's not swayed by hype or paydays, he's looking at the raw physicality of the matchup. Sanchez didn't stop at skepticism, he made a prediction. Eventually, he will catch Crawford, and punish Crawford, and hurt him, he said of Canelo. It's not about Crawford lacking heart or skill, it's about what happens when a bigger, stronger man lands clean. Sanchez has seen too many good fighters overwhelmed by size to believe Crawford can avoid that fate forever. His tone is calm but certain, a warning rooted in years of ringside experience. For him, this isn't just a tough fight for Crawford, it's a dangerous one. Darius K.O., another voice in the mix, offered a boxing purist's take with a dose of realism. He sees technical interest in the fight. Crawford's slickness could make it competitive on points, but he's not sold on the excitement. I don't think Crawford has enough pop at 154 to deal with a Canelo, K.O. said. Canelo can easily go to 175, light heavyweight, and deal with the power there. I don't think Crawford's got anything that would scare Canelo. For K.O., it's a classic case of size trumping skill. Crawford might survive, might even win rounds with movement, but he can't hurt Canelo. Meanwhile, Canelo can hurt him. That imbalance, K.O. argues, drains the fight of real stakes. He picks Canelo to win, leaning on the old adage, a good big man beats a good little man most of the time. Legendary broadcaster Jim Lampley brought a measured but cautious perspective. He's called Crawford's fights, watched his rise from 135 to 147, and considers himself one of his biggest fans. He rose all the way up to number 1 pound for pound, Lampley said. I have nothing but the highest opinion of Terence Crawford. But even with that admiration, he can't ignore the weight gap. 168 pounds is a long way up from 147, he noted. Crawford's tested himself once at 154, but 168 is uncharted territory. For Lampley, the jump isn't just risky, it's a leap into the unknown against a fighter built for that weight. Canelo's faced bigger men, Sergey Kovalev, Dmitry Bivol, and walked away unscathed. Nobody's had him down on the canvas, Lampley said, pointing to Canelo's iron chin and unshakable legs. Against that kind of resilience, Lampley wonders if Crawford has the power to make a dent. Lampley's not sure Crawford has a winning plan beyond outboxing Canelo for 12 perfect rounds. If Terence is going to tell me my way to win the fight is I'm going to outbox him every second of every round and he's not going to find me, that's probably the right plan, he said. But even that feels fragile. Canelo's too seasoned, too strong, too good at closing gaps. Lampley's tone isn't dismissive, it's honest. He sees the brilliance in Crawford but doubts it's enough. Rising welterweight Paul Crawl offered a younger fighter's take, balancing excitement with realism. That's a dangerous fight, but it's good for boxing, he said. He picks Canelo as the favorite, a good big man always going to beat a good little man if the skill is close, but leaves room for Crawford to surprise. He compares it to Floyd Mayweather's masterclass against a young Canelo, noting Crawford's explosiveness could make it unpredictable. Still, he's skeptical of Crawford's power. "I don't think he's going to hurt him," Crawl said. "If he do win, it's a decision. It's a razor-thin path, movement, timing, perfection, with no room for error." From Marquez to Lampley, Sanchez to Crawl, the consensus is clear. This isn't just a super fight, it's a lightning rod. Crawford's a generational talent, no doubt, but this matchup tests more than skill. It's about size, power, and survival. If Crawford pulls it off, it's one of boxing's greatest feats. If he doesn't, it's a brutal reminder of the sport's unforgiving math. Can his speed and IQ neutralize Canelo's strength? Can he stay flawless for 12 rounds? Or is this a gamble too far? The boxing world waits, debates, and watches. What do you think?